Hi everybody, thank you for joining me today. In this video we're going to focus on the Crocodile Crackle from Cadence, a fabulous medium that comes in an array of colours as well as metallic shades as well to give you some incredible results. Now this is for glassware, cardstock, any surface such as wooden items or metal or ceramics that you have around the home, inside or out, you can use this medium. So we're going to cover all of the techniques and tips and the best way to get the great results from the Crocodile medium from Cadence. So here we have the medium in situ. The one I'm going to be using today is the black shade. Now you get in your box step 1 and step 2. Of course, step 1 is your application and step 2 is the color of choice. This is the black. It also comes at the moment in a silver and a gold, but watch out for more colors in the future. Now the same process goes for each color within this particular product. I'm going to focus on the black today because I think it gives off incredible results, and through this demonstration I think you'll see it most effectively. So I'm going to pop these two to one side for now, and of course we can use that later on, and I'm going to share with you as well what they do also look like when finished. So to begin with, I've got a glass plate here, and I'm working onto glass because, okay, in the craft industry, working onto glass sometimes can be a little bit intimidating, but it's one of the most easiest surfaces to get a great result onto. And you can take this particular process onto anything at all. So step 1 is where we're going to begin with. Now you can decant the product out into a paper plate or into a tray, something that you may want to contain the medium in if you wish. I like to work directly onto the surface, and I know in Cadence they do the same as well. But if it's a slightly larger project, maybe you're covering a sideboard or a table or a drawer front, you might want to add a small amount from the pot into an open decanter. That way it's slightly more accessible for you. And any that you don't use, if not dried, can go straight back in the bottle with it being water-based, so it's not going to separate or split. So a small shake of the bottle. Now when using step 1s and step 2s, or if it's just a step 1 product, always give them a good shake in your hand. Always store them at room temperature, out of direct sunlight, and that way you're going to get the best care and the best performance from your products. So a tap in the palm of your hand, usually with the cap facing towards your hand, is the best way to do it, especially with the coloured mediums. That way the pigment will rotate and flow beautifully throughout the whole levelling of that compound. So again, in the palm of my hand. Then I'm going to start by placing this roundabouts in the centre of this glass dish that we've got here. And this glass dish is curved as well. So we're going to be cautious about the fact that we're going to have natural gravitational pull towards these edges where the product may want to slip. But we can work towards that. So step 1, apply directly into the centre. I'm then going to use the 1-inch flat brush here. You can see I've been using this quite a lot recently. But the bristles and everything else about this brush is perfect just from the day it was first opened. So we're going to start with a horizontal sweep with this particular medium. You can see it's almost like white paint. It looks so opaque, but through spreading it out, the consistency will change. Now, in difference to a lot of Crackle mediums, this has quite a fluidity to it. So it runs much easier. It spreads very, very far. So you only need a very small amount. But you can see here I'm covering the glass plate. Now, as I'm spreading this out evenly with the brush, I'm making sure to cover all areas. Any that are overspilling on the plate, I can just wipe away onto a tissue. And we can always add more if we need to, but it's trickier to remove it if we had too much on. So start with a small amount and work your way up. You have a nice window of working time with this medium. So that means once we've applied it to this glass plate, we don't have to rush, we don't have to be super quick. I can sit and continue to add to this plate for around about 5 to 10 minutes, and then it will start to set. So I'm happy with the fact that we've put our horizontal lines with our brush in here. Now you want to leave this at room temperature, out of direct sunlight, for around about an hour and up to an hour and a half, depending if your room's a little bit cooler. If it's slightly warmer, naturally it will just dry quicker. Your brush you want to sit in some cool water, or of course you can wash it straight under the tap as it is all drain safe as well. So setting our plate to one side, you can see this one here which I have that's dry is fully translucent. So you can slightly see the brush strokes of the glaze and it will dry tacky. It's almost like the reverse side of washi tape. So your fingers would naturally stick to it when pushing an impression into this. You want to try and refrain from getting anything on the surface, as that will stop the chemical reaction. And I always say chemical reaction because it's what's natural, but at the same time, they are chemicals, but they're not. They're water-based. It's all non-toxic and family friendly. So it's almost a paint reaction that you're getting with this medium. So I can see here from the glass plate, I naturally went across in a horizontal motion with that medium. So I'm going to make it easy and rotate the plate, meaning again, we're going to go in a horizontal motion, but in a different direction to where we placed step 1. Now step 2, of course, is the black shade, and we're going to tap it in our hand from one side to the other, really mixing up the pigment. Now naturally, of course, some that have mica in or a coloration to them, if it's been sat upright within your cupboard or wherever you're storing this for a number of weeks or months, however long you've got it there for, it may settle to the bottom. So a small shake and a tap will activate all of that together. I'm going to pop this directly onto the plate. Here we go. So again, probably about just slightly larger than a 50p piece size. And I'm going to use the 2-inch flat brush for this because it's just making the process super quick. I'm going to glide this across the whole plate. And the pigmentation of this medium is fabulous. It's extremely strongly pigmented, meaning the coverage is instant, and then you can see exactly where you've applied this medium and you don't have to go back over it. So I'm going across, sort of patting the product into place, and then I'm dragging it using that same sweeping motion that lays the product flat on the surface. Here we go. Now that particular process is complete. Now with this Crackle medium, you want to leave it again for about an hour to an hour and a half at room temperature. It's very much a rule of thumb with Crackle. No direct sunlight is advised because again that can almost speed up the reaction too fast. Now if you were to heat up a product too quickly, it's almost like when you cook food too fast and it spoils the flavour. What you're going to do is encourage the crackles before the medium's ready to crackle, which would either make them ultra fine, but at the same time could have a different effect. So I'm going to share with you what will happen. Because if you add a heat gun into the mix, you can change what will happen here. So I'm going to start by applying my heat over the glass plate. And of course, because it is glass, I'm going to continue to move the heat around the area because of course we don't want to crack it. This is a thick plate, so I'm quite confident. So I'm going to start just in this corner here. Here we go. And as I add this heat to the area, we'll start to see a formation of crackles beginning. And I'm just moving that heat around so it's not too concentrated on the surface, and we can see there already we're starting to get crackles coming through. Now this will become much clearer as this progresses, but naturally already we have got crackles showing. So I'm just going to continue to move this around on here. There we go. All the way over, and I'm just going to do this corner because I really want to share with you what will happen when adding heat to this medium. Now, if I just hold something white underneath this, you'll be able to see this much, much clearer. So I'm going to just keep moving this along. There we go. Now, what I'm going to do with this is if I just hold this over, let's have a look here. I'm going to grab some white cardstock and just sit this under there. You can see that we already have our crackles. They have appeared here on the edge. So that's where I was focusing and really channeling that heat. So adding your heat with a hairdryer or a heat gun has really started off that reaction and kicked it into motion. Now leaving this naturally with that desired time, which is around about an hour to an hour and a half at room temperature, you're going to get the result, but it's going to look amazing. So this is exactly what this will look like. Here we go. So you can see there straight away, look how intense and beautiful that Crocodile Crackle is. It's almost got a veining or a branch that runs through there with all of those stemming away from it, completely irregular but immaculate. Now what I'm going to do is use a little bit of white hybrid acrylic paint on a sponge stick. So I'm going to take some of my white hybrid here directly onto the reverse of this. Now we can still add mediums on top of this, even though of course we've crackled it, because what this will do will then show through all of those crackles. That could be a metallic paint, it could be a completely contrasting colour such as the white that I'm using, or your favourite colour that you already have in your stash. And you need a very small amount for this. But because we're using hybrids, of course this is a fully waterproof paint, meaning that this can then be washed, it can be going outside into the garden. Allow the paint to dry naturally for 21 days at room temperature, and that way you've got that cured process for waterproofing. So all the way around, and then you can see as we reverse this, all of those crackles really just come to life. It is just magnificent. So you can see there the end result that's been achieved with our Cadence Crocodile. Now if you wanted to, That could have been a metallic paint on the reverse of this. So look at that. You can see there the gold. We've popped that through the crackles this time. Or if you're using the gold crackle medium, this is the sort of result that you can get. And it's completely bespoke. Every time you use it, the result will be different, which means, again, all of your products and all of your projects as a whole are going to have their own individuality and just look incredible. That there is the Cadence Crocodile 2-step medium and how to get the best results and the best tips and techniques that you can achieve with this. Join me for the next video and thank you for joining us.
If you want to see more from Highlight Crafts, make sure you click the like button, subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below, and click the bell icon to receive notification of all our future content. You can also click here to see our latest video or click here to see more videos like this one.